Hello Year 5 Griffin families, Mrs Quick here. I just wanted to talk to you about our English expectations for next half term. Now, we began a book last half term called Leon and the Place Between, which we never actually finished. So we're going to finish with that first, and that's going to be leading on to writing a narrative, which is a story. And the children looked last half term at fantasy genres, and we talked about portals into other worlds, and that's where they're going to be writing their narrative from. Now, to do this, we really want to include some of the features that we have here. So we're writing a narrative, and we're going to be using 5-6 vocabulary, because there is specific vocabulary that we like the Year 5s to use now. We're going to be looking at inverted commas, similes, metaphors, personification, and also brackets. These are all things that we're going to include in our narrative because they make the narrative more exciting. Now, by inverted commas, obviously we're talking about dialogue, we're talking about speech, and we really want to use speech to move action forward in our writing. Now, I've got an example here for you to look at, using dialogue to advance the action. Dialogue can be great when advancing the plot of a story. Right, okay, so it tells you tells the reader what's happening, basically. So this one here says, Rosie, what is it? What can you see? James said, frantically peering round. Rosie was shaking and pointing to a space just in front of her. There's a... What? Where, Rosie? There's nothing there. You're pointing at an empty space. Stop it, please. You're scaring me, James begged. Now that's an example of dialogue moving the action forward, okay? Because if it didn't have that dialogue, we wouldn't know what was happening a lot of the time, and that's what we're going to be working on with our narrative. We want to be able to move the action forward. To help your children do this, maybe when you're reading with them of an evening, if there's any dialogue in the book, any speech in the book, have a look at how it moves the action forward. Also have a look at where the punctuation is. Look at where the speech marks, the inverted commas, look at where they are, okay? Where does the punctuation go? It goes in the inverted commas. All of these things would be really helpful for when the children come back. When we're talking about similes, metaphors and personification, they're all ways of describing things. Like we could say the tree was as tall as a tower. The tall as is a simile. The children are really good now at being able to identify what these mean. So maybe if you're out on a walk, to help, ask the children to describe something that you see on your walk just by using a simile or a metaphor. That would be really helpful. It would help them with their writing. Also, when we're moving forward, we're going to be looking at our new topic within our writing as well, and we will eventually be writing a balanced discussion all about coal, which is part of our topic, and we'll also be looking at writing a formal letter, but we'll talk about that at another time. So, just to show again, okay, the things that we'll be concentrating on are using the vocabulary, inverted commas, similes, metaphors, personification and brackets.